Okay. Another little female cow and a little update. We got Alyssa Mercante. Alyssa Mercante, of course, is the crazy prostitute who posts nude pictures of herself online. And she is a games journalist. I think I've actually voided any knowledge of her from my brain. I'm like, maybe it's just because of the allergies, but I'm like scrambling my brain trying to figure out what the fuck did she do again. I think she is a she's from Kotaku, of course. Okay, so let's see where she's up to. Last I heard that she filed a lawsuit against SmashJT, so she posted some zeets. Oh, sorry, some what do they call these, skeets? That's right, skeets. Walking into a restaurant shift and feeling 25 again. Lamau, Lamau, what a life, am I right? So I don't know. This might be a feint because obviously people are gonna make fun of her, but it appears that she is working in a restaurant again. So she's like, I think like almost 40. And after losing her job at her Kotaku, she's now a waitress at a Denny's or something. That's my interpretation of this. Um, and obviously it's impossible to fucking feel bad for her. Sorry, I got a text message because she is still suing Smash JT. And in fact, if she is working at a restaurant, she appears to be working in a restaurant so that she can afford to sue this guy. And her amended lawsuit is fucking insane. And I don't know how much I want to read of this because it's 400 paragraphs long, and it's very like narrative prose as opposed to like litigation, which kind of makes it feel like a lawyer is just filing her ramblings for her. So she says in paragraph 26, as a result of his focus on Mercant and her rising star in video game journalism, she became a target for further harassment that eventually led to her resignation from Kotaku. Um, let's see what this says. I'll pick some random ones out. Tarzia, which is Smash JT, says makes frequent use of New York residents to amplify and spread his message. Tarzia deliberately targets New York residents as both topics of his message and targets for harassment by his fans. Tarzia's contact with the state of New York is more than merely incidental or unintentional. Tarzia fully intends that his communications are sent to, viewed, reacted, and have their effect in New York. And this is just her trying to circumvent the fact that New York doesn't have any actual jurisdiction over him. This is very poetic, this title. Tarzia's star waxes as his vitriol increases, saying that he depends on being cruel to her and violating her rights in order to make any money. Tarzia repeated these claims on the Smash JT website that she used to be a sex worker, sucking dicks for money before she worked at Kotaku. Mercante has frequently spoken on the topic of sex work and does not consider sex work to be improper. Mercante has been on the past selling erotic photographs of herself, which is a form of sex work. Notably, being in support of sex work and working as a cam girl are not illegal actions. By contrast, engaging in sexual contact for money is a crime under New York. Libelous publications which allege a crime do more than provide mere insults. So that's the basis of her defamation lawsuit, is that he said specifically not that she was just a sex worker, but that she sucked dicks for money. She's saying that that is defamation per se, because if you accuse somebody of a crime, such as prostitution, that they're not actively engaged in, that is defamation per se. However, part of what makes defamation defamatory is that it has to be untrue, and it has to be a statement that to a reasonable person would be obviously untrue. So if you just go to if you like hate like a random woman who works at like a Burger King and you put her online that she sucks dick for money, that is like intentionally defamatory. You have like, you could say, well, she looks like the type. She looks like she sucks dick for money. She looks like a trash whore, and that wouldn't be reasonable to a person. But if someone says that she's a sex worker explicitly, and sex worker is a broad umbrella that incorporates everything from nude photography to sucking dick for money, then it's completely reasonable, and many people would assume from the term that you probably have sucked dick for money. So that is a terrible claim, just on its own. The 159, this is her side. The I suck dick tweet was prompted by, in responding to Tarzia's false claim not the other way around. I forgot. She actually did make a tweet where she says, "I suck dick for money." She's toast, man. This is just wasting this poor guy's fucking money. I hope that he gets to recoup expenses from her, because what a fucking parasite. That is complaints that he used pictures of her, which he's allowed to do. He received a retraction request and didn't. That's important to establish, because if you ask somebody for a retraction and they don't do it, basically what the courts want you to do, and this is a big part of defamation lawsuits, when you sue somebody for defamation, you first have to give them an opportunity. You don't have to, but it helps your case a lot to give somebody an opportunity to redact their defamatory claims. So you send them a cease and desist. And the reason why is, if you take the time to explain to somebody that something that they said or something that they host online is defamatory, and they choose to ignore your correspondence, that's an indication of actual malice, which is a big part of winning a defamation case, especially if you're somebody who's like a semi-notable figure like Alyssa Mercante. Bias-related violence or intimidation, which is the IIED tort, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Intentional infliction of emotional distress is a very, very, very hard tort to win in the United States. There was precedent set like 20 years ago where the Westboro Baptist Church intentionally showed up at a gay soldier's funeral with the "God hates fags" and "God kills our fag troops" signs. And this was in like full display of the family in the funeral procession. And then the woman, Shirley Phelps Roper, went onto a local radio station to explain why God hates fags and stuff. And that was also like in the community. So the family got like a lot of shit from them at the funeral and around them. And this went all the way up to the Supreme Court. And in like an 8-1, how many people are on the Supreme Court? It's 7, right? So like in a 6-1 decision, there was only one dissent, is what I'm trying to say. They decided that it was not IIED, and the only person who dissented was a guy who had a military background. I forget who. And he says, like, if this doesn't rise to the level of intentional infliction of emotional distress, then nothing does. And he's kind of right. So but you know, he was butthurt because he's a fucking soldier. Army guys always stand up for each other. Good old boys. Sorry, I know this. I'm just like, that's the allergy shot. You gotta be easy on me. And then this is the best part. So in the summary, it says this: he conducts his campaign of harassment and emotional terrorism. She is officially bringing forth the unheard of tort against him for emotional terrorism. What the fuck that means, nobody knows. I don't think she even knows what that means. But emotional damage, yeah, right. Emotional terrorism, chat. Don't let it slide. It's the same thing as blowing people up and shit.
Thank you for watching this clip by Colonel J. This is the King of Bold here. Remember to like and subscribe. Juice!